But let's talk now about Elon Musk, because he's just bought Twitter, which is, I think, very good news for free speech. And in fact, he's been on Twitter, his own company, and he's tweeted about it. And he said comedy is now legal on Twitter. So does this mark a sea change in freedom of expression? And with icons like GB News presenter John Cleese saying they could never now make the great comedy that they made back in the day, could it be that comedy, which for years has been stifled by political correctness, will make a comeback? Is it time to make comedy great again? Well, to debate this, I'm delighted to welcome the fantastic comedian and panto star Andy Ford, and my own legendary panellist on tonight's show, comedy actor and TV presenter Christopher Biggins. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hello, lover. Nice to meet you.
Just to let you know, he's behind you.
Very good. Hello, Biggins. How you doing?
Very well. You look great. I love the shirt. Is that for comedy?
Well, of course. Everything I do is for comedy.
I think Andy lost a bet. Andy, listen, it's great to have you on the show.
Listen, I'll give you a game of Dynamos if you want.
Well, no, I wouldn't say no. But listen, big Andy, has political correctness impacted comedy, do you think, in this country?
Well, I love that expression, cancel culture. Nice couple of buzzwords there. But in comedy, cancelling has been going on forever. You know that when you stand out there and you don't get a laugh on a few gags, the audience can cancel you quite easily. Comedians have lived with it for years. And the benefits nowadays, and there are benefits, if you have a loyal support of people that love your comedy and they'll come and see you, if you're cancelled off one thing, they'll go and see you somewhere else. There are lots of comedians, and naming no names, who now have their own streaming channels when they put their comedy out and they sell tickets for their shows. So years ago, it might have been, if TV says no, that's the end of it. It's changed. TV's important, but there are other ways to get your comedy out there.
Yes, but do you feel like you've got to be careful what jokes you make now, Andy, compared to the gags you were doing 10 or 15 years ago?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, the stuff I was doing in the 80s, 3/4 of that material I wouldn't do now, although it worked at the time. And I only ever deliver stuff that I think's funny. But no, comedy will always be controversial, because if someone doesn't think you're funny, then they'll cancel you in their brain. The strange thing, and Biggins to tell you this about comedy, is if you're a singer and people don't like what you're singing or your voice, they'll say, not my style. If they don't like your comedy, it's like you've broken into their house and wiped the family out with a machete. It's that. You're laughing because it's that extreme. Comedy is that extreme. But I'm not really a satirist. My comedy is quite gentle. I mean, my major platform is doing pantomime, like this lovely man here, and I love my panto, and it suits my style of comedy, because my comedy is, I like to think it's clever, but it's innocent. When you do pantomime, for example, stop me at any point. When you do pantomime, you're playing to kiddies, teenagers, mums and dads, grands and granddads. And your job as a comedian is to make them all laugh at the same time, but not necessarily at the same thing. There might be a trick for the kids, a gag for the parents, a cultural reference for the teenagers, and something cute to make the grands go, oh, and nice.
Well,
so you're working on all them different levels.
That's what you want. I think it's very sad, Biggins, that the brilliant Andy Ford feels that he couldn't do those jokes from the 80s now. They were funny then. We haven't changed as a species. It's very sad that John Cleese has said he wouldn't get away with half the stuff that he did back in the day, Monty Python, Fawlty Towers, A Fish Called Wanda, that he did in that golden era of comedy. However, is panto an outpost of un-PC humour?
Certainly not.
Glad to hear it.
I mean, honestly, what is interesting, when I was a kid and a young man, we used to laugh hysterically at wonderful comedy. Things like, comedians who went out and really made us laugh. And now you can't do that comedy anymore. It's impossible because you'd have so many people down on you that it would be really. Benny Hill, for instance. Benny Hill was hysterical and he was brilliantly funny and we all tuned into him.
Well, absolutely, Biggins. So many people down on you. Don't knock it till you've tried it. My thanks to the brilliant Andy Ford and the wonderful... See, I'll get cancelled for that. The wonderful Biggins, who's back in the next hour. Andy, come and see us in the studios soon.
Where are you,
I'd love to do that.
Andy, quickly, where are you this Christmas? I've got to run.
Oh, I am in Cinderella at the Bristol Hippodrome at Craig Revel Hall, and it's going to be a hoot. See you there.
Boom. Brilliant stuff. My thanks to you. Andy Ford and Biggins. Next up, in my take at 10, I'll be dealing with Prince Harry. See you in 2.